So today we have our lovely friend Jill Watson, who's going to show us how to make
a very quick rough puff pastry.
Great, looking forward to it. So what do we need?
Right, well, this is the way I've always made it, and today I've been doubting myself because you have been saying, what, really? All that butter for such little flour? I use, honestly, it's so simple, equal amounts of self-raising flour, plain flour and butter. So if we've got 250 grams of butter, 250 grams self-raising, 250 grams plain, a little bit of salt, a grater, that's basically all we need. And it better not go wrong, because I've been doing this for 30 years, and if it goes wrong because you've questioned me, I'm going to be really upset.
Fingers crossed.
It will do, won't it? Right, so we're chucking it in.
Oh, can I just ask you, what temperature shall I put the oven on for you?
Well, I think about 220.
Okay.
Does that sound right to you?
It sounds high, but I trust you.
I no longer trust myself.
So it's at 220.
At all.
It's going to be lovely.
Everything's going to burn and all the oil's going to leak out. But anyway, here we go. I forgot. And you've got a bit of butter there.
So I shall
grease those.
Yeah, yeah.
For me. And so all we're doing is, on this bit of the grater, go on, put salt in. Chuck a bit of salt in. If I'm doing savoury, I like to put a bit of celery salt in, especially if I'm doing steak pasties. But because we're going to do a bit of apple tart as well as a meat pie, I'm not going to put that in yet. So on that part of the grater, we're dipping it in. The butter has to be really cold. If your fridge doesn't get things really cold, then stick it in the freezer for 15 minutes before you start. So we're just dipping it, grating it, and making sure that the butter's mixed around in the flour so it's not in one great clumpy lump. And once we've grated all that in, then we'll get some nice cold water in it. So that's it. There we go. That was easy, wasn't it?
It was very easy. Right,
There you go.
Put it here for you.
It's my ice cold water. You haven't put hot water in there, have you?
I hope
not. Don't ruin it all for
Just
me.
tricky.
So we're wetting it, and I generally still end up putting too much water in and have to put more flour in, but you know, it's not an exact science, is it? It doesn't really matter, I don't think, unless it goes wrong.
So that's probably, I'm just trying to think how many, that's probably about 100 mils you've put in so far.
Yeah, not there yet, are we? Making pastry, I think it's quite therapeutic making pastry.
I find it therapeutic as well. I think it's a bit of an art though. A lot of people struggle with it.
It's not. There's no art in this now.
It's difficult to get it right. I'm a bit of a pastry snob.
Oh,
I do like nice pastry, but most pastry.
See, you're making me scared again.
No, it's going to be lovely.
Just,
it really is. What?
Just say, however it comes out, you're going to be kind.
Of course we are. We'll love it.
Right, I
It'll
think
be
that's
delicious.
probably about it. So
Yeah.
I'm just, yeah, I don't think we need any more water in there.
Okay, so that's possibly 200 mils, 150 to 200 mils of water that you've used in there.
Right, so as little handling as possible.
Oh, shall I peel these apples for you
Yeah,
while I'm talking?
Go on.
So, yes, right.
So, check it out. Now, even though you've got me doubting myself, I have taught lots of people to make pastry, can I say, and it's never failed. Today might be the day, but I've had mums who have never ever made pastry before making this, and we've never had a problem with it. Tra-la-la. Right, that's it. How simple was that? It literally took minutes, didn't it? I'm cutting it into 4 just so that it's going to be easier to roll out. in a bit. And I'm going to pop it in the fridge, not for long, just basically whilst
And
we get some filling ready.
And does that make it easier to handle then if it rests in the
Yeah,
fridge
a
for a
little
little
bit.
while?
It's not really necessary, honestly.
But if you've got the time, then it's worth.
Yeah,
if
you've got the
for a
time.
little while. So I'll put that in the fridge for
Thank
you.
you.
So I've peeled 4 apples, and what else do you need to make the apple pie?
So butter and sugar because we're going to make a butter caramel.
Yum.
Lemon because we're going to put sugar in it, so we still want it a bit tart. 'Cause I don't know what these apples are, but just in case.
So these apples came from one of my neighbours who has an apple tree and donated them. So
eating or baking apples?
they are baking, but they are quite nice to eat.
Yeah.
I do actually quite like it.
Let's have a little bit so we know what sugar level we're dealing with.
They're okay though, aren't they?
Look at you, your face isn't contorted.
I quite like a tart apple.
Might not need much lemon. Right, so I'm basically just roughly chopping these up.
Can I take a bit
You
more?
can do that.
I'll do that because I like to take as much as I can.
You take it all
I
off.
don't like.
And just chop them up quite small.
Okay. So now you're going to make the caramel.
Yeah.
How much butter have you got in here?
I think about 100 grams.
About 100 grams, and then you're going to add sugar to that.
Yeah, I've got 150 grams of caster sugar in the bowl. Might use it all, might not. We'll see,
Okay.
we'll see
Right,
as we
we'll
go
see.
along.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Whack that on the heat. And wait for that to melt.
So you've melted the butter.
Melted the butter. I've got this on a medium heat, but this is going up and down because you're saying it should be higher and I'm saying it should be lower. Oh, we just don't know, really. So I'm chucking the sugar in. Woo! Well, that sounds quite lively, doesn't it?
That's
And all we want to do now is spread it out a bit. Now, I've also noticed that we're on a bit of a lean here, aren't we?
it is a slight lean, I know. Yes.
So,
Slowly.
yeah, I'll keep turning it around a bit.
So how long's that been on for now, Jill?
Probably about 5 or 6 minutes. You can just see a little bit of colour come in. It's important not to muck about with it. Don't do any stirring. We want a little bit more colour in, but the important thing is to have your apples ready because they will cool it down once it starts to get really brown. So I'm just checking. See, we are going brown now. Mix it in a little bit. And you can smell that it's caramelling up. Right, I'm going to mix that through.
So that's how you make caramel. Wow.
Well, with butter. And when people make caramel by doing white sugar with water and boiling it down, I can't do that. It never works for me and I don't actually know why. I just put the sugar on the bottom of the pan on its own
You
without
need a
any liquid.
sugar thermometer, don't you?
Oh, do you see?
Yeah.
I can't be bothered with things
No.
like sugar thermometers. They upset me. Right, so that's good. We want it quite dark.
Oh, I can smell
toffee
that.
apples.
It smells lovely.
Toffee apples, isn't it? Can I just say that when I was private chef to Piers Brosnan and I made this for him, he said that wasn't an apple tart, that was a little piece of heaven. That was a week before he fired me. Quickly, before we reach the point of burning, get your apples in one go because that will now cool it down. And it's going to go very toffee-like for a minute. We'll turn that down. Mix it about. And don't panic if it starts to go like stiff coffee because when the moisture comes out the apples, it will be fine.
Oh, that smells delicious.
I'm going to put 1/2 a lemon in.
it's just half a lemon that goes in.
Well, for the time being,
Yeah.
and then we'll have to pull a bit out and taste it when we've cooled it a bit. Before seeing if we need any more. I think it probably will need at least half. Right, so we're just going to let that cook down for a little bit and let all the apples brown.
So you've taken the pastry out of the fridge and you're going to do different things with this pastry, aren't you?
Yeah, because we've got a big batch of pastry, which is what I always do at home, and then I can put pies and stuff in the freezer because I'm feeding lots of people all the time. So here I've got a mix which is, it's like shepherd's cottage because it's a mixture of lamb and beef.
Yeah.
I'm trying to feed grandkids all the time that don't eat vegetables, so I've got carrots in there, celery, onions cut down really small so they're not detectable.
And that's with a mint, with beef and lamb mince.
With beef and lamb mince, just fried off, and then a little bit of flour in, stock cube, and then just cook that down in water, or even stick it in a casserole pot and pop it in the oven and forget about it for a bit. I've got a sausage because the youngest grandchild, we think he might like a sausage roll.
Right, okay,
So-
lovely.
So I'm going to do a pie for the grown-ups tonight, for a start, and the older child. And of course it won't fit.
Do you want a knife?
Maybe that up. Yeah. Throw a bit of this in. So this is basically what I made last week. I made an enormous batch of this. I made a shepherd cottage pie. I'm throwing it everywhere for the family, and kept this over because I like to do a pie every other week. I'm gonna have loads of this, aren't I?
And does that freeze then again?
Yeah, this I won't freeze again. They'll eat this tonight, but if when I make this fresh, sometimes I do just cool it down and then pop it in the pie, and then it can go in the freezer.
So it's quite handy tea then, isn't it?
Yes, that's easy peasy, innit? So that's fine, and then get the lid on.
Do you want an egg wash?
Yeah.
I don't always use an egg wash.
Because sometimes, because there's so much butter in it, it browns anyway, but it can be posh and do an egg wash. And then just and you notice I haven't wet the edges to seal it. And sometimes I quite like when the meat and the gravy dribbles into the pastry. Let's see that. Right, ready for Kay's egg wash. What have we got in here then?
So I just put one egg and a few drops of milk in
Whole
there.
egg?
Whisked it up with a fork, and I quite like it. I quite like the glaze when you use an egg wash. It makes it nice and it looks more professional.
Professional. I was listening to Kitchen Cabinet the other day, and they were all talking about egg wash on there and how they separated the eggs and all that nonsense. And then some geezer said that he uses egg and double cream. So I have actually done that recently because I had a bit of double cream that was about to go off, so I thought I'd use that. I'm going to make a sausage roll, so I'm going to take it out of the skin.
I think you can still buy sausage meat, can't you? I remember you used to be able to get it.
Yeah, you certainly can at this time of year because it's coming up to Christmas.
Ah, for stuffing.
Yeah. That's that. Okay, so I've got a little bit of leftover pastry here. This is for little Jamie, my grandchild.
And how old is he?
He's 2 and a bit. We try to get him to eat one new thing every day that I'm there being grandma, picking him up from nursery. And he always asks me now, what have you got for me, grandma? When I pick him up, she's so cute. Oh. Woo, that's long, isn't it? Make it a bit longer, I think. Or maybe I should cut it into 2. I think think I'll cut it into 2 because he might be terrified of something so big. What do you reckon? There we go.
Simple as that. There's your sausage roll. Wow.
So you've egg washed those sausage rolls on the tray.
Yep.
We'll whack those in the oven now.
Okay.
And then we'll do the apple.
Great. And shall I put this one in as well? How long do you think that?
They're going to be ready in like, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes, do you
Right.
think?
Okay.
Yeah. And that's going to take longer. When those come out, we might turn the oven down a bit so
Right,
we're cooking
okay.
that filling through.
Right. I'll pop these in.
So the meat pie and the sausage rolls are in the oven. This is all cooked down now, so I'm just going to pop it in there to cool it a bit because I don't want it melting the pastry when I put it on the pastry. So whilst that's cooling, I'll start rolling out for my tots. Right, so I've divided this into 4. Some little apple tots. And they don't have to be perfectly round. I could never get them round. This is sort of going a bit triangular, isn't it? Roll those out, put them to the side. Do you remember your mum saying you must never turn your pastry over?
Yeah.
Why?
No.
Why not?
Well, I don't know why, but I handle pastry as little as possible, which I think is what you've done there, and I think that's partly why, isn't it? It's about handling it.
Oh, just like stop messing about with your pastry. I thought there was like some magical thing maybe about not turning it over, but then I did it one day and it didn't seem to make a difference. We want as little flour going onto it as possible. We don't want to cover it in loads of flour because that makes for a really hard pastry. Right, so that's fine. Then we need our cooled apple
apples.
back.
Okay, here we go.
And a spoon might be a good idea.
There we go. Is that one alright?
Yeah, fine. Right, so. Couple of spoons.
I think I might need to taste that, if that's alright.
Don't burn your mouth because it's still a bit hot. And then I'm just going to fold it up.
Oh, that's delicious.
So just very roughly folding this over. Might leak a little bit, but I don't think that'll be a problem. It'll just caramelise it nicely on the bottom, I reckon. It's still quite warm as this mix, so I'm trying to work quite quickly.
Okay, so shall I pop those in the oven?
Yeah,
How long do they normally take then?
about 10 minutes I think.
About 10 minutes?
Maybe.
Wow, look at these. They look delicious. So,
It's not bad, they haven't even leaked.
amazing.
So sausage rolls, how long were they in
I think
for?
they're about 15 minutes.
About 15.
Yeah, yeah.
At 220?
It was 220.
Yes,
Perfect.
thank you.
Yeah.
Meat pie, that's been about half an hour.
25 minutes, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. And then these,
About 15 again.
15
I
again.
think, yeah.
yeah. Try a bit of sausage roll then.
Bill is looking like he would like a piece of sausage roll. Shall I hand a bit over? Look at that. There you go, Bill. You try a bit of
Thank
sausage
you.
roll.
Thank you.
Just that out. I'm going to wait for the apple.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
See how the pie looks. If we can get it out. Never an easy thing.
That is just such perfect pastry, isn't it? Isn't it? Beautiful.
Thank you.
How's the sausage roll, Bill?
Absolutely yummy. That pastry's gorgeous.
It's good, isn't it?
Do you want a bit of eggs?
I absolutely do. I imagine this is perfect with some fresh cream or ice cream. That would be nice.
A bit of nice bit of creme anglaise.
Oh, it's still really hot. Yum. Okay.
I'm going to taste a little bit pine.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
That was delicious.
And it takes minutes, that pastry, honestly. No faff.
That's so good. Thanks, Jill. Cheers.
Anytime.